This is the Burning Barrel Podcast. Welcome if you're first time joining us or a long time listener. We talk about whatever the fuck is going on, basically. There's
Pretty
no
much.
real topics or any of that stuff, so we'll just talk a bunch about media, I guess.
Like stream of consciousness type
Stream
of thing.
of consciousness type thing, exactly.
Right
I-
on.
Hank wrote
Yep.
down some things in a document we shared together that he's been doing to keep track.
Yup.
I don't need to do that because the only thing I've been doing is playing Fallout 4, like
Fair
a
enough.
lot.
I feel so left out, man. I feel like I shouldn't admit this, but I never played a single Fallout, actually.
Okay.
Actually, that's a lie. I played Fallout 2 for maybe 3 minutes, and I'll explain why. I'm not sure if you guys hit this in Canada, right? Like, as you know, I'm Brazilian. I grew up in Brazil. I came here in 2003.
Yeah.
So most of my childhood, in fact, my entire childhood is like Brazilian standards, so to speak. So back in the 90s, like late 90s, early 2000s, computer magazines would put out. It used to be like they put out a bunch of demos, and then you like buy the magazine, you read the stories, and you play the game demos and stuff. But after some point, they started putting out like full like retail versions of the game, right? So this magazine had like the cover was a story about some video game that I cannot recall, and it made it look like, and this is something that they did a lot. They would put out like this is about circa 2003, right? So they put out a story about like some new brand spanking new game, right? And then they make it look like the game they're giving out because you've come to expect these magazines to put a game out, right?
Mhm.
It makes it look like the game they're putting out is whatever like new game just came out and they're like doing a story on it, but then the game that they'd actually give you is some like older game, right? And in this case, it was Fallout 2.
Okay.
So I bought the magazine thinking I really can't remember what game it was on the cover, right? And it turned out to be Fallout 2, and I installed and I played it for a second. It was like, you know, that turn-based kind of RPG type thing, which having ADHD, I never couldn't really fully enjoy these games.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
So I'm like, I played it for like 2 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I went back to return it. They wouldn't take it, right? So I'm like, okay, I guess. And that was it. That's the extent of my experience with Fallout. And
Okay.
I missed out.
Well, how much do you like post-apocalyptic America?
I could not like it more. I actually enjoyed it a lot. Seriously, I really
Okay.
dig the whole post-apocalyptic. Like, I know there's a lot of mythos in the game and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been looking forward to get into that. You know, I have little to no experience with the story. I'm not sure if you need to know the previous games to
No.
get into 4. Okay,
No.
that's good.
I mean, the basic idea is that, like, there was a big boom of technology back in, like, the 50s or something like that, and they've been using nuclear energy to, like, make technological advances.
Sure.
There's either a war or a meltdown or whatever, depending on what the game wants to throw at the area at a time. You
Okay.
live in a vault to try to
Right.
get away from that, and when you come out of the vault, everything is fucked, basically.
Right. I knew that one because I've been reading the Wikipedia articles and seeing the like reviews, trying to like, okay, I think I can get into this. Let's see what it's about. And then I'm like, no, I totally like. I need to play this game. Like, I think I could really get into this.
Yeah, for sure. If you didn't like the way that the original Fallout played, like the tactics RPG sort of thing, you should probably check out what they've done with it because it's a first-person shooter now with RPG elements.
For sure.
And in this game specifically, in Fallout 4, they kind of reward you like being ADHD and picking up everything you can and trying to do different. There's a lot of stuff to do. Like you can modify your weapons, you can build bases, you can do side quests for like different companies of people and stuff like that. You could do the main quest if you want to do story stuff. Like there's a lot of shit to do. You can even just wander the wasteland for a few hours, like killing shit if you want to get more stuff. Like there's a bunch of stuff you can do. But I really, really like it. What would you play it on if you were to pick it up? Like on console, on PC?
Probably console. Like when I was a kid, I was more of a PC gamer, and now I don't really know a whole lot about. Like, I probably need to upgrade my computer, get a new, a video card, and I don't really want to fuck with it because I'm not very lucky with these things. This computer would be just as likely to explode if I try to put something in as it would be do anything else.
Okay.
Legit, like the people in the chat here, I see that my guys. Somebody said Izzy has more experience with Fallout than me. That's saying something. He must have seen the cover of the game once. Master of rule, I guess. But yeah, no, I probably don't like. I like the simplicity of console gaming. Although, like, it's not as simple today. Like you turn it on, and then you have to read like the terms of service, and then you have to like install an update, and then like 2 days later you come back, and then you have to install the game, and then download an update for the game. So not as simple as like blowing on the cartridge. Like at the most, that's what you had to do, right? You blew in the cartridge, and now it works.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's still more simple than PC for me, anyway.
Sure. Yeah, sure. No, I understand that. I see Oliver Schultz is saying I played Fallout 3 for only 3 hours. It's definitely not for me. Fallout 4 is the exact same. If you didn't get anything out of 3 or New Vegas or anything, there's not enough new here to make you come back, honestly. You really have to be in the mood for a kind of mediocre at best first-person shooter that takes place in, like, a pretty great environment.
Okay.
Like, you have to want to go across derelict ruins of, like, a technologically advanced 1950s like wasteland, essentially. It's so niche, but it works if you actually want to do that sort of thing. Even when you want to do that sort of thing, like I'm starting to get sick of it now because I've been playing it so much. I kind of just want to play a different game now. The shooting in it's still not very good. I
Like,
really
did
don't.
it just come out? You're already sick of it?
Yeah, I've been playing it every night though.
Oh shit.
The shooting is still not very good. Like, I don't like how that's handled very much at all. It's better than it ever was. That's still not saying much. It's still a Bethesda game, so it's buggy as hell a lot of the
Really?
time. It does some good stuff in it, though. Like, I don't know. You have to really like that environment to get into it, I think. But, it sounds like you would get into it, because you want that environment. And this game gives you enough of that. Like, it's pretty great.
For sure. No, I think like for everything I've ever read about Fallout, and I saw like the little videos they put out, the trailers, reviews, read the Wikipedia, to try to get a sense of what the universe is about. And I really dig that, like the Americana thing, and like retrofuturism and post-apocalyptic, like all of this combined makes something that I think I could really get into. I think I'd probably be able to get past the hurdles of like the like I played a lot of tabletop RPGs when I was younger, right?
Sure.
But the online, like the electronic RPGs, like video game RPGs, I could never quite get into it. Like the classics, I neglected, right?
Sure.
But I think I could get past all of that just to have that experience, right? Like I think Fallout 4, I have to get it. I'm gonna have to get it.
I mean, like, even the stuff that I'm saying is quote-unquote bad or mediocre is still really good. It's just not as good as, like, some of the games have done it this year. Like, this year, I was talking to some people on Twitter about this. This year has been a year of, like, not a whole lot of really good games came out, but all the games that were considered good that came out were really good. Like, they were pretty top tier. So Fallout 4 is kind of, like, one of those things that if it came out in, like, 2013 or something, it probably would have been one of the best games of that year. But, I don't know, just mechanically, the things some of the other games have done, like Metal Gear Solid 5, like Ori and the Blind Forest for Metroidvanias, like, they've been so solid with how they play that Fallout 4 just kind of felt like it's feeling like a fun toy more than like an impressive video game. And I think that's probably just due to the engine they use being so old, and they're just trying to squeeze every last bit of energy out of it they can until they have to build a new engine.
Yeah, this has been a really good game for games, particularly compared to last year.
Yeah.
Which felt like there just wasn't that much overall, but
yeah,
this year's been going to be really crowded on Game of the Year lists. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's not on everyone's lists because people have different tastes, and there's just been tons of good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So the people that fucking love Fallout, like, this game is going to be on their lists, but
and it probably, if you love Fallout, this probably should be on your list because it's more of that, and it's the best they've done with it.
And like, no one else handles scale in the way Bethesda does, really. So that they're doing that again is like huge, because
video just broke.
There we go. Oh, I think I broke it.
That's
See, what
fine.
did I tell you? What did I just tell you? I tried turning on my thing, and I think I fucking broke the internet.
That's fine.
don't worry, it's just Skype.
I'll work it out.
Time anyway.
There you go. Now I know, because people were complaining that they can see me. They call me Ugly Mario. See, what did I tell you? I fucking broke the thing. I just see the page here now on the tab.
Don't worry, we can keep talking. I'll fix it.
All right, sure thing. I totally, like, whenever these games come out, like, I was more of a hardcore gamer back in the day, and then like work and all these responsibilities, school and stuff like that. I end up gravitating more towards the casual, like, the quick release, like the quick satisfaction of, like, your average, like, Plants vs Zombies type thing, right?
Sure.
And I've been wanting to get back into it, especially because being like doing a video game podcast and being the one guy who hasn't been playing anything, I have to get pretty creative. Hey, hun, the wife just got home here. I have to get pretty creative sometimes, talking about games that are like either with the jokes, because that's really all I can offer. She's dancing here for some reason. What's up? That's Mrs. Nobre right there. I'm not sure if I'm already. What are you playing?
Hi.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Okay, now.
Wait.
Sorry, I think I just derailed everything here. Okay,
No,
go back.
that's totally fine. I'm still trying to fix video.
But yeah, no, I think. Okay, what do you? Okay, go. That's who I married. Yeah, you think I'm ADHD, like you don't know this girl. But yeah, man, I'm looking into to totally, like, I was speaking with somebody today on Twitter. Tomorrow is Hank, are you from Calgary? I'm not sure.
No, I'm from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Oh, right on. That's cool. In Calgary here, where we live, there's gonna be some social media thing happening tomorrow. And one of the girls that was seeing me, I forget who I was talking to. It might have been you, Paul. We were talking about Fallout with somebody. I can't recall. And she offered me to lend me her copy of Fallout 3. For me to kind of get into it before I buy it.
Yeah.
But I happen to work tomorrow. I was given a shift tomorrow, so I won't be able to pick that up. But I'll tell you this though. I think I'm more excited for Battlefront at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you played Battlefront yet?
Oh, hell's dude. Are you talking about which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the new one that is coming
It doesn't
out.
matter. I played all of them. I've
Okay.
been a huge fan of
Okay.
Battlefront from day one. Played the beta. Was slightly underwhelmed, but it's still Battlefront.
Always overwhelmed.
Get out of here.
What do you-
Two special guests now tonight, apparently. These are my
Nice.
two new friends. That's Hank and that's Paul.
Hi.
Hello.
But yeah, no, I'm huge fan of Battlefront. Played from the very first one. Right, I have all of them on PSP. I played them on PS2. Played the remake on the Xbox 360. Played the beta. And like I said, I felt like they nerfed the game that I loved a bit, but I can't be out of it. Like I can't. All of my friends are gonna be playing this thing, and I want to be there.
I just want a kiss. Mwah, thank you.
Get out of here. I'm picking that up day one. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
Even if I was a little bit like,
I'm pretty sure day one is tomorrow.
Yes.
oh my god, and I happen to work. See, fuck, man. But I work until
I was wondering if like you would catch on to that.
17th. That's right. People have already been playing on EA Access, right, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the beta was open for it like I think a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago. It was I want to
was
say a month at the most.
Yeah, it wasn't very long ago for sure.
And it was only like 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a weekend. How much do you like how Battlefield games play? Like Battlefield 4 or 3 or any of those?
Love them.
Okay, you'll like
I-
this then.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I like the whole it's a first person shooter or a third person shooter in the case with Battlefront, right? And then you got the vehicles and you got the locales. We know from the movies I am a huge Star Wars nerd, right? So there's that.
Sure.
And
That's
I-
going to help you a lot, for sure.
that's-
See, I'm
that's
not
the thing.
huge into Star Wars. I don't hate them. I'm just not huge into them.
Right behind you.
No, I know. I like some things about it. Like, I'm just not huge into them. Like, it wasn't enough for me, really, to play the game. But I will say that the coolest parts about playing the beta were seeing, like, just, like, being on Hoth and seeing Darth Vader come up over, like, a mound of snow, and you're just like, oh, fuck. Like, you know shit's about to get real.
Oh yeah, man.
See
Yeah.
those laser sounds.
The laser
Okay.
sounds are great in that
Yes.
game, too.
Although
The
my new favorite
is amazing.
thing about that game is a vine someone put up of someone playing as in the Hoth level as Luke Skywalker force pushes a stormtrooper off the top of a mountain into a TIE fighter that then explodes.
I did see that.
Yeah.
So fucking dumb.
That's great. Yeah.
Amazing.
Stuff like that is going to be great for it.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't afford another game right now.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Dude, when I came here, I remember new releases were like 50 to 60, right? They're 80
Yeah.
now, right? I believe.
They're 80 now because of our shitty dollar.
Yeah, fuck. Like, no, I guess you're right. Like, I'm gonna have to. That's a tough choice.
But on the
Like,
plus side for you, being a giant Star Wars fan and wanting like a game, this will hold you over for a long time.
that's true.
Yeah, so
that's
you'll
true.
be fine.
Up until like I'm gonna go into like full blown like I'm gonna watch the new movie comes out on the 7th. It comes out officially on the 18th. I got tickets for the 17th. So it's like a month apart for both, right? So like the game comes out tomorrow, and the movie comes out in a month. So I have a month to like really just immerse myself in Star Wars goodness. I'm gonna watch all the movies, even the shitty ones. Play the game, play the old Super Nintendo games, right? They were great.
Oh, they were hard as fuck.
They were. I was playing.
Yeah.
Dude, I had Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi for the Super Nintendo. Was my favorite Star Wars game of all time, maybe second only to the Battlefronts, right? I'm a big fan of both. And I beat that on regular difficulty when I was a kid, right? I still remember the password for the last level, which was like a Millennium Falcon run. And I was playing it again on my PSP, and I was like, this game just got harder. Like somehow the ROM made itself harder.
You just got worse at video games, because I've done that. Like, I remember when I started streaming, I was just like, I'm going to stream some Mega Man X, because I was the fucking bomb at that game. I started up, I'm just like, oh, this is terrible. I'm so bad. I can't play it worth a shit. I don't think it's that the old games got harder. It's that we got worse as we grew up. We just, like, lost our touch.
Or, like, you're just not willing to put in, like, the amount of time it takes to get good at those games.
Maybe.
But the thing is, I don't even remember. I don't even remember having to work that hard to become good at certain games. Like, maybe my memory is just fuzzy, but there were some that, like, right off the bat, I was, like, in sync, you know? Like,
Sure.
I don't remember having to lose at a certain level on Star Wars, Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi, before I could beat it, right? Like, I remember beating the game relatively fast, and then now, it's like the very first boss is already, like, fairly challenging. And then I went to see like the wikis and stuff like that, and people were commenting, in fact, it was a pretty challenging game, like you mentioned right off the bat, Paul. Maybe I just got shittier at video games.
Could be it.
Pretty good theory there. That could be it.
Maybe it's just overthinking things or something, because I remembered growing up playing Battletoads with my friend on the NES, and that game wasn't nearly as hard as it became, apparently, when the internet started talking about it, and when I tried to revisit it.
Yeah.
When I tried to revisit it, I was like, oh shit, this is actually impossible. Like, I can't actually do this. As a kid, I played it no problem with my friend all the time.
And the thing, too, I think maybe I got spoiled by, like, save states and something and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Like checkpointing?
Yeah. Like, because, I mean, they already had some checkpoints, but they're few and far between. Like, with save state, is like, literally, like, I pressed, I think it was, like, F6 or whatever, and then, like, I can just checkpoint every step of the way there, which makes the games... It almost kind of defeats the purpose of playing the game in a way, right? Like, the challenge is completely gone almost. But, you mentioned
Depends
Mega
what you're playing
Man.
them for.
That's true. If you're playing to, like, beat them to completion, then yeah, which is in my case, because I don't beat that many games, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really either. Not anymore.
Not anymore, man. I don't know. Even, you know what? Fuck it. Even back then, I didn't beat that many games.
I beat the games that I had because that's all I had.
Right.
Yeah.
So much harder to get games to come by, right? Back then, like, it was birthday, Christmas, I think, and what else you guys got here? For
like, video stores, when that was a thing, you could rent them, but then you only had them for the weekend, so you're going to play that all weekend to try to beat it.
Especially for the games that didn't have saves and stuff like that, right? Like back in the NES and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You had to pretty much beat it in one sitting. One thing we had in Brazil that I don't think you guys had here, we had video game stores too. Like, you can rent the cartridges out and go home and play them on your own system.
Yeah.
But because the economy was so shitty, and a lot of people couldn't afford these video games, like, they're very expensive down there. There still are. You'd go to a store and they have like a whole bunch of televisions and a whole bunch of Super Nintendos, and then you pay like $1 to play for an hour.
Yeah, we had that in the city I grew up in Airdrie, just
really?
north of the city here.
Right on.
It was called Game Dudes. You would pay them, it was like $15 or something, but like...
What? To play for how long?
For like the whole day, basically. You would do it for like birthday parties and stuff.
Sure,
like a parent would pay out like $100 to have like you and like 5-6 of your friends or whatever just play all day from their whole library of stuff.
Cool.
And that's what we just used to do because it was so much easier. Like, that's how we started playing stuff on the Sega Saturn and the 3DO, because none of us owned that shit. Our parents weren't going to shell out like $600 for this piece of garbage that nobody's even talking about. At least a Nintendo had a name behind it.
Yeah. You saw the commercials, right? Like,
Yeah.
the parents knew what a Nintendo was, or at least they
Yeah.
knew the word.
It's like, what's a 3DO? And then as a kid, you're just like, I don't actually know.
Right? That's the thing, right? Like,
Was
because
it
I
the-
remember.
Was it the 3DO commercial that had where they like throw the Super Nintendo and Genesis in the fucking like trash?
I think
It's
so.
The new hotness.
That sounds
Like,
about right.
I remember that commercial, and even as a kid, you're like, that commercial's you're dumb. You're not even getting me.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking it up right now, and yes, I see it. Hank is not lying. Yeah, for sure. They're throwing a Super Nintendo with a controller on. I don't know what this is. Then there goes the. It's a Sega Genesis with a 32X, I think, attached to it or something. No, that's
Sega
32X.
CD.
Sega CD. That's right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Sega CD.
Yeah.
And when they got nasty with the advertisement back then.
Yeah,
Like,
they
don't have
did.
teeth
Oh, yeah.
anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Remember that there was a game. What is it? The Game Gear commercial that had Ethan Suplee, the guy from the fat guy from My Name Is Earl.
Mhm.
He's playing with the Game Boy, and they would show like the Game Boy in the games and everything. Like it looks like I think if you were to pull that shit nowadays, you get sued right away. Back then they didn't care, right? So they'd be
Yeah.
the guy was playing the Game Boy, right? Ethan Suplee. And he's clearly getting bored by it. There's no colors and stuff, so he picks up like the corpse of a raccoon, it looks like, or a squirrel or something, beats himself over the head with it, and it gets like fuzzy. So they add this like filter on the image. Like the idea is that he beat himself up to see color on the Game Boy, and then like in comes the Game Gear. It's like, oh, all your favorite games 16-bit with colors kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they like the whole like Sega does what Nintendo don't. Like you couldn't do shit like that nowadays.
No. Oh god, no. Well, you could, but people would see right through that bullshit instantly.
Oh yeah, like on the internet, can you imagine that shit?
Yeah. You can't even actually market anymore. What you do is you pay YouTubers to look at something for you, and then they will market for you. That's how they sell products these days.
I mean, that's how everything gets sold. Like
Yeah.
people getting celebrities on Twitter to pimp their shit.
It's actually way more effective, though. Like,
Yes.
More convincing, I guess, right? If it's coming from somebody
Yeah.
that you already mentioned. Now, on the chat here, somebody mentioned something interesting. Chilling Chum, he mentioned how the 3DO, Ken Zito, commented that the 3DO was a CD video game made by Panasonic, right? Interestingly enough, the 3DO was the only console that I can think of that had two different manufacturers, actually.
Yeah.
There was the Panasonic version and some
it
other
actually had three. It had Sanyo, Panasonic, and Gold Star.
Gold Star.
Yeah.
What the fuck are these guys now?
Right? Actually, let me look up Gold Star. Whatever
hey,
happened to them?
Check it out. They became LG.
Oh, okay.
So there they are, I guess.
There you go.
Huh. Yeah, that thing had a ton of different weird controllers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Like
such a
the
weird
remote
thing.
controller.
Is that the one with all the? No, there was one. I think it was one of the Ataris that had like an numeric pad on the control, the Jaguar or something.
Yeah, the Jaguar had a numpad on it.
Like it looked like a,
Oh,
like
yeah.
a telephone, like half of a telephone.
Yeah. I mean, like in television, ColecoVision controllers were sort of did things like that too, with just like too many buttons for these old games, like fucking Atari level games.
I think
It's just
I'm pretty sure. I
too
think
much.
the logic. No, it is. I mean, what are you gonna do with that? I think the logic with that one was just to make it easier to put in passwords, I suppose.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
a pretty ballsy strategy to make your own controller about like let's just make it easier for them to they were solving a problem that wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
Is that the one that had cards you would put over it for like different things? Like a game
Yeah,
would
yeah,
give
it
you a card. It is
It would
like
have overlays.
one is now the like dog button and 3 is the cow button, like sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Was that one?
I think that had it. That also goes back to like the first home console, the Odyssey, which had overlays for your TV.
Oh yes, my
Yeah.
dad had one of those. So it's like it's not Pong, it's like table tennis now because it's kind of green.
So dumb. Here, put a football field on your TV.
That's so good.
Dude, we've come such a long way. It's funny because like that's what people had back in the day, right? And then now we're so spoiled by graphics and anti-aliasing and all this shit like photorealism that when a game comes out, right? Like I was big into like video game forums like 5-6 years ago, right?
Sure.
So a game come out, right, and they had like a screenshot of like the PC version, a screenshot of the Xbox version, a screenshot of like the PS3 version, and then people are like maximizing it on Photoshop and overlaying it one on top of the other to like find out which is more pixel, and you have to go like so into it to like find this minute little trivial difference you're never gonna be able to really spot, and it goes to show like, wow, man, back in the day it was like, here's some fucking piece of silicone you put on front of the TV, it's NHL now, like there you go, thank you.
The fun thing about back in the day too was that how it looked on the box was actually how the game played to you. Like when you rented something or bought something, like when you look at it now it's just pixels, but like on the box it's this like big buff dude with a sword, so that's what that pixel is. That's me as a big buff dude killing this giant dragon and stuff. Like the art for the books and stuff like that came with the games was actually what made the graphics in your mind with the imagination.
Creativity. I sent you a link here. You guys obviously know this. I'm going to post it on the chat room here on Twitch. I guess I can't because there's a link. Anyway, it's the infamous...
I can allow you to do that.
Sure. The infamous Mega Man box art.
It's so good.
Yes, it's amazing. Look at this thing, guys. Seriously. So Mega Man here looks to have some problem with his legs, right? And arms and face.
He has a lot of problems, yeah.
There's a lot going on here. And then he's holding his arm. Like, obviously he's a lefty, which I didn't know. And it's a gun. It's not like a cannon on his arm.
It is like a 9mm pistol. Yeah.
Yeah. And they did it again for Mega Man 2. Give him a gun again.
Yeah.
Oh, the best, like, they made the like Tiger electronic handheld things.
Oh, dude!
Mega Man actually used a gun in that.
Yep.
For Mega Man 2, the Tiger game.
Tiger handheld. I don't know what the rap they had here, but back in Brazil, those were the shit, son. Because we had a bunch of like little like, okay, so the Tiger handheld was already like a Game Gear / Game Boy wannabe, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Crappy screen, right? But here's the thing: back in Brazil, like emerging markets and people don't have as much money, we had a lot of like Chinese like think of the Tiger handheld. Now imagine it was made with like $50 less in like materials and don't have any property, so it's just like, you know, with the Tiger handheld you had like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Sonic, with these little games that you bought like in the street, like the street sellers. It was like the ball game or like the rocket game, right? And they were like pretty cheap and affordable. A lot of people had them. They worked with like little watch batteries and stuff. So the Tiger handheld actually seemed like a crazy, like, oh, this is like what the rich kids play with, you know?
Sure.
And it was awesome. I remember I had a buddy in like grade 7 that had the Sonic one, and I remember thinking like, man, this is fucking amazing. And it was like basically like like a couple of like elements more.
It was like an alarm clock, basically.
Yeah, it was like a watch.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
It was so silly, but I thought it was the shit, man.
It was so good.
It was awesome. Like if it worked with like 2 little like regular AA batteries and no backlight, but we didn't expect these things back then, right? So it's actually pretty awesome. I collect Game Boys, right? Gonna get a.
So you know all about not having a backlight if you collect Game Boys.
Man. Oh yeah, like I grew up, dude. It's like it's one of those classic stories. Where, like I didn't have that much money growing up, you know, third world country and all.
Yeah.
But I desperately wanted a Game Boy growing up, right?
Sure.
So it seemed to me like Game Boy is just the coolest thing, because in my head, like I had never played with one, but I'd see the commercials, I'd see the pictures and stuff like that, and in my head it was like, because like I found out about the Game Boy, and that's the other thing, like things got like to Brazil pretty late, right?
Yeah.
So when we finally got around to like, oh, this thing exists, it's like years that's been in the market. I'll put the link here on the chat here for the guys. I think I'm not authorized yet.
What the hell? Why doesn't it That's weird. I'll just do it again.
Nightbot said that I was authorized, but for some reason...
Yeah.
There's the link. I sent it to Skype, and I'll send it to the guys here on the chat so they can take a look too. Let's see. No, I now was banned from talking to. Oh, you know what? I think no, I was banned for 586 seconds. What did I tell you, man? I'm unlucky with tech. I fucking told you. I told you at the beginning. I sent you a picture link. I guess.
Here, you know what? I'm gonna make this easy for everybody.
There
You're added as a moderator.
There we go. That was my plan all along.
Yeah. Now you ban everybody that you brought in.
This shit is mine now, son. Yeah,
Want that sword?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. This is like I was playing the long con, Paul.
Yeah.
See, I was invited to the podcast. You think you invited me? I was playing mind games right up in there.
This whole time.
this whole time. There's the picture right there. Like I have a pretty sizable collection because I grew up wanting the fucking Game Boy. I never had one. Right? I saw the like in my head. It was like because like I said, when I found out about the Game Boy, we already had the Super Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, like in my head, it was like it's a Super Nintendo, except black and white, and I could put it in my pocket. Not really, because it's fucking brick, but I could carry it around, right?
Yeah.
I put that thing in my pocket all the time as a kid. Game Boy is the shit.
Oh man, I still fucking play that thing. I fucking love it. Just a little like the startup sound, like all of that like, encapsulates that. Like I want that so bad, and now I can have like how many? Like there's fucking 5 here. It's one of those things, right? Like I love this thing, man. I love this collection. It took me a while to like secure this one and that one. I'm missing one. Well, technically two. There's the Game Boy Light, which only came out in Japan. It's a little bit hard to come by, and the original Game Boy Advance, right? Like the horizontal layout type of deal. But I don't have.
You don't have a Game Boy Advance?
Not the original. I have the SP. In fact, I have 2 SPs. I have this picture is actually old because I have now that SP that you see there, the clamshell one. That's to this day one of my favorite designs on a console. I'm a big as you can see portable gaming guy. Oh, it's awesome, right? The very first one they put out, the AGS 100, the backlight was like kind of funky. It didn't work so great. They put out a lighter and brighter version. It was titled the model number was AGS 101. That's pretty difficult to find because people have clued and like they discontinued the SP shortly after putting that one out.
Sure.
So I finally bought one for some dude here in Calgary on Kijiji, like $40 or whatever. And yeah, no, it's awesome. Like the SP is a big favorite of mine. Because I think the SP, I spoke about this on a podcast once. The SP combined like everything that was awesome about the GBA, which is basically a portable Super Nintendo, right? But now with a built-in battery that you can just recharge, right? You're not spinning like batteries anymore.
Yep.
Right? Awesome backlight. It like the clamshell thing is just elegant. Like you close it up and you throw it in your pocket in your backpack.
It's still one of my favorite Game Boy things they've ever done. I loved it so much.
And it was like that was the first. I think it was the first console I had since the Super Nintendo, which I guess you now shouldn't come as a surprise. I actually destroyed my Super Nintendo when I was a kid. And the guys in the chat already know the story. I actually the GBA SP that I'm telling you about that I got from my like ex back in Brazil. I actually destroyed that one too.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm an idiot like that. The Super Nintendo, I was playing Donkey Kong 2 with my brother, and like with Donkey Kong, like you lose, like you die, and then your partner takes over, and he's playing with like Diddy or whatever.
Yeah.
I lost, and my brother takes over. I stepped in front of like between him and the TV to kind of like goof around and have him not see the screen and die, and so I can pick up the controller again. Mm-hmm. While I was doing that, I stepped on the wire for the controller, and the whole system like crashed down.
I've done that before.
Did yours break too?
No, it didn't break because we had carpet like just everywhere, so it just landed on that. But I think I actually stripped the wire.
Really?
Yeah, from the back.
Doing that?
Yeah, like it pulled it really hard.
There's no justice in this world, you see?
Yeah.
Back then it's too hot for carpets where I'm from, right? So it was just like hardwood and shit.
Sure.
It popped down, right? Like the cartridge like went flying, and I was so scared to tell my parents because like we're trying to turn it back on, like hoping against hope that it still worked. It didn't, right? And here's the hilarious thing, right? Like we hid it from our parents. Right, and my parents didn't care that much, like about what the fuck we're doing, so they never saw us playing video games anymore. I guess as far as they're concerned, that's good. My dad actually works with electronics. That's what he does. He works with. I don't even know what the name is here. It's kind of like an electrical engineer type thing, but
okay.
Geared towards like hospital and like equipment, like CAT scans and things like that.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, that's why we're here. And he actually he could have fixed that thing, but I was so scared of admitting that I broke it. I never actually asked him to fix it, so that just disappeared. And then the Game Boy is even stupider. I was in Toronto. This is when I first came to Canada, right? We were doing whatever, who knows? And I had a cup of McD's like Sprite on the cup holder.
Yeah.
And I was going someplace, right? And I guess like the SP, like it's so big and heavy, bulky, I can't carry it with me. I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it in the car. And somehow the cup leaked, and then when I come back, like the cup holder, like the GBA, the SP is like a little island in the middle of Sprite, like just kind of like halfway out, halfway in, like a little iceberg, like a Nintendo iceberg inside the Sprite.
Oh,
obviously
fuck.
Work. Yeah, and then I didn't have a console till like I bought a PS2 like years later. So I've destroyed a lot of consoles in my day. A PSP, I managed to destroy a PSP too.
How?
Okay, so this is even okay. Back in the day, right? Like my English wasn't so good, and I didn't like have an education or anything. So I worked as a dishwasher, right? My buddy Curtis had a PSP. This is like 2005. It was brand spanking new. Whoa, his wasn't. His was secondhand, but still, first time I'm actually picking that up, and it was so shiny and nice. Like the PSP when it came out in 2005. Now it's like old news, but at the time it was like a really fancy, like a really nice device, right? Like. And I'm like, oh man, this is amazing. He's like, I don't play many games with it, and I already knew from like following the forums and stuff like that you could hack it to play emulators, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if you don't want it, like you can actually like do this thing and this thing, and then you can play like all these old video games if you want to go through the trouble. And and he's like, oh no, that's too much. Fuck it, I'm not gonna do that. And like months later, he's like, hey, you're talking to me about that, the PSP stuff that you can do, and I thought that he wanted me to like teach him how to do it. And he's like, hey, you know what? I'm actually partying with it. So if you want, I'll sell it to you, right? Like I'm like, okay, $150. I still remember, right? Which was a lot of dishes I had to wash to come up with that money. So and he was so gracious, he allowed me to do like a payment plan. Like I'll give you $50 now, and then like $50 like a week from now, another $50 like 2 weeks from now. Right, whatever. Bought the PSP. Actually managed to mod it. Right. It was great. Like I bought all my I got all my my Super Nintendo ROMs and Sega Genesis and all that shit. Like there was great. And then because it was third hand at this point, there was some dust underneath the screen, right? Because you had like the LCD and the plastic thing that goes on top, like the the shell, right? And there was some like fluff between the shell and the actual LCD.
Okay.
So I'm like, man, that's that's bugging me. So I'm just gonna look up some tutorials on how to fix it. So I found a few, and I have it open on like I had an iPod Touch at the time, so I had it open on an iPod Touch on a desk, right? So I'm like unscrewing the things and taking it out and folding everything, and wiping it with like this microfiber whatever fucking future cloth.
Yeah.
And I'm doing everything just right. And then I'm like, hey, it's perfect. There's no fluff. There's nothing anymore. No fuzz. I'm just gonna close it back very carefully. And as I'm thinking like very carefully, I hear like a crack. Like I closed it a little too hard. Like I'm putting the shell back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I guess I must have like bent something. Like that sounded a little weird. I turn it on and there's like a big like black spot like in the corner of the thing, and I'm like, oh, fucking great. What did I tell? Do you see now why I don't want to put a video card in this thing? Do you see now?
That's smart. You
Makes
should
sense.
probably never touch your computer.
Exactly. Dude, I still have my Windows 8, right? Like every time I boot this fucking thing up, it says like, oh, do you want to upgrade to Windows 8.1? I'm like, no. This thing is gonna fucking. My monitors are gonna start working, and like I know it will. No.
Oh
That's why I
man.
can't touch it, man.
Some bad luck. Holy shit.
Yeah, I've destroyed a lot of shit. Maybe that's why I keep my Game Boys packed away here. But what do you guys? Do you guys collect anything like gaming related?
No, not really. I'm trying to think of what I collect just in general. I was gonna say amiibos, but not really, because I don't go out looking for them. I just buy them if they're around. So
I have a comic book collection, and I just
sure.
Magic cards.
Right on. Magic! Oh shit, son. Wait a second. You're talking about this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta butcher this shit, man. This is my like junk pile.
So
I have like
you started getting back into Magic then, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm trying. Like it's so hard to find the time, right? But I'm sorting through like because I went through the phase where you buy like the booster boxes and stuff like that to like try to put together a decent deck and stuff. And I quickly found out that unless you have the time to go out to do the trades and stuff, it's not worthwhile. It's better to just like buy a deck that you enjoy and play with that, right?
Yeah.
Definitely want to get back into it. It's just like I said, like my friends who play Magic, like all weird schedules and they all live far away. Some of them don't drive, makes it a little bit difficult. I definitely want to get back to playing that, yeah, for sure. And I do collect comic books here too. They're just hard to get because they're on the other side of the office, and there are a few here. I spent a lot of money with. I became the adult I thought I was when I was a kid, when I was 12. Like
Yeah.
I bought a lot of fucking Magic, a lot of fucking comic books, action figures. Okay, check this shit out. Look at this. This is my office right here. See?
Yep.
See, there's some comic books underneath there. There's the PSP little shelf there. There's some Transformer over there.
Are those the glass cases you get from IKEA?
You know, man, Detolf, $89.
Yeah, okay. They
Yeah,
actually
that's what everybody has.
they actually look way better than like they do in the store. Like
I think so, too.
with stuff I give a shit about, I guess.
Right? I mean, it's like some China, some boring China or whatever.
Yeah.
She looks cool when you have like RoboCop and fucking Punisher. Looks a little bit cool. Dusty as fuck though. I gotta clean that. It's like as you can
Dust,
like
man.
shit.
It's
I
the
can
worst.
wait a sec. I can probably like draw dicks on this. It's pretty. Oh man, I'm telling you, like
Yep. There it is.
it's. I have not cleaned this in a little while. Oh man, but yeah, no, shit is great. I love it. Probably clean that sometime. There's a Millennium Falcon up here. Oh my god, like you want to talk dust? Shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Wow. I'm gonna
Solid
crash.
dust.
I should not have done that. Yeah, like I said, like people see my videos and they see like this kind of. It's all a fucking facade. It's all a lie. There's dust everywhere. There's underwear like thrown around everywhere. It's fucked up, man.
Yep. I guess I should have assumed that somebody named Comic Panels on Twitter would probably collect comic books. That just seems to make sense now that I think about it.
I don't know why I was surprised either. Like that makes perfect sense. I'm actually surprised you managed to snag Comic Panels on Twitter, not like Comic Panels like 273 or some shit like that. I actually thought you were like when you told me your screen name, I thought either you were joking or you didn't finish saying what it was. Like Comic Panels, that's pretty cool.
Apparently that's why he won't change it either.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because like if you have it, don't get rid of it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just going to start calling you Comic Panels from now on. To add on top of every other name you have.
Whatever. I had plans for a comic book blog at some point that never came to fruition.
You could still do that.
I just have not been reading as many comic books like in
Oh.
the past year. I ended up trying to read too much and burned out a bit. So at some point, my spirit will be refreshed enough that I'll just be reading stuff all the time again. But right now,
Makes sense.
I'm curious here. Now, I see there's a bunch of people talking here. I'm not sure who of these are Brazilians and who are these are like guys that you actually know. I'm thinking a good chunk of these, like Chilling Chum. I have a feeling this guy's Canadian or American or something.
Yeah, he's actually from Edmonton. He's
Right
a dude
on,
I
that's
know.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. I had a feeling. There's a bunch of people here. Like I asked my guys, like, hey, come check this out and hang out and stuff like that. But do try to, like have the conversation. Like I don't want to see you guys all talking Portuguese among the show because it's gonna be kind of boring. I want to see you guys like actually interact with us. But then now I don't know who's who. Like I'm like, is this my buddy? Is this their guy? Like I don't know now. They're all mixed together, but I guess that's good.
Yeah. Everybody's just having a grand old time.
They're talking here about how I never beat any Pokemon. There's that, so it's another.
Have you ever played a Pokemon?
Fuck yeah, man! Dude!
Oh, okay.
Come on. Yeah, I have all of them.
Also, that's the right one. Red and Charmander. That's the only thing that matters.
See, I know you're one of my people because you didn't say Ash or you didn't say Mario, which some people think.
Mario!
It kind of does look like Mario a little bit, right? Like you got the red, you got the blue, you got the hat, right? Pixelated. You got a mushroom right underneath. It kind of like throws you off. But you said red. I approve that.
Charmander was I remember playing Pokemon when that was the new hot thing from Japan and being like called a faggot for it in school. But I like Charmander. He's my bro. Always has been. He's actually just right there.
Oh, I see it right there. Yeah, always a fire starter for me, man.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I played a lot. Like I said, I never had a Game Boy growing up, right? But emulators, I found out about them around like 1997. I think I was in grade 7. It's easy to remember because it was always like grade 2, 1992, grade 3, 1993. I found out about emulators, right? And I was blown away by it. I was like, I can play fucking Super Nintendo games on my computer for free. And back then we had those like floppy disks that weren't really all that floppy. 1.44 megabytes, right?
Okay.
And I remember, like, I had to go to my cousin's house. I'm like, dude, this is gonna fucking blow your mind, right? Like, we're gonna play a game for free on your computer, like a Super Nintendo game, on a bigger screen than like the TVs that we had at home, because like my TV in my bedroom was like tiny. But you couldn't find many ROMs that actually fit in a floppy disk, right? I remember one of them was the Pokemon Red and Blackthorn for the Super Nintendo were the few that like actually managed to fit into one, and that was the game that I passed around a lot. I actually sold floppy disks with ROMs at school. Like I'd find the ones that would fit on the thing. I didn't know about like compacting files or compressing files or whatever. So I had to find the ones that would fit in one of these discs to like pass around at school. So I was pirating shit at a young age
Yeah.
and profiting from it too. Comet said, I think in my school you were made fun of if you didn't like Pokemon.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in the greatest place.
Yeah.
It was one of those schools where it was like, if you admitted you played video games, like, you were, like, the outcast.
Oh, for sure, dude. Like, I remember you would avoid, like, there would be the one friend that would talk about computers, and, like, for me it was more computer games because I grew up without consoles for most of my childhood.
Yeah.
But, like, you'd go to that guy's like, hey, man, did you see, like, the new game,
Yeah.
the new day, whatever, right? Like, you'd feel like yourself. You could actually talk about that shit.
One or
Right?
two people, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I went through phases where, like, either they'd make fun of me or it'd be, like, talking to the walls. Because, like, I knew they wouldn't even have any clue what I was talking about.
Yeah. It's almost better than how it is now with those people, though, where they're trying to relate to you and you're just like, just stop. You don't know. It's okay that you don't know. Just stop.
That reminds me of when Fallout 4 came out. There's this lady, like some model or whatever, they hired to go to, like, the red carpet premiere of Fallout 4.
Fallout 4?
Why?
Sure.
And then they're like the host, like he wasn't like grilling her, but he was like trying to like get her to talk about it and whatever. And she's like, "Oh yeah, no, Fallout 4 for sure. Those video games, it's great." And she's like, he's like, "Okay, so what's your favorite?" He's like, "Oh no, I never played it. I just the premiere and like people are wearing amazing dresses." And I'm like, "What the fuck happened?"
I always find it weird when they get the, like, models and stuff to do the booth babe stuff for video
Still do that?
games
I
when
thought
they
kinda,
never
like.
I don't know, like they get like
They've
Jessica
cut it back.
Negri and stuff now, like girls that actually have played a video game at least, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, which is the way you probably should go so that
I
those
guess,
weird
yeah.
situations don't happen.
See,
Because
the
it
thing
is pretty cringy.
the video game industry had too much money at the time, so
Yeah.
they're just looking for different ways to blow it.
Yeah, kind of.
That's true.
They still kind of do, but it's dying down for a lot of them.
It's a much different kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Saying here on the chat, video game guys were outcasts in my school, but we're a pretty big crowd of at least 30% of the school or something. So he was lucky.
Holy shit, that's amazing. That would be great if you were like the
Right.
outcast, but you took up the whole school anyway.
Yeah. Holy fuck, 30%? That's one out of three guys like know what the fuck like Contra is. Like,
Yeah.
that would have been amazing. That I can actually talk about like these obscure.
I'd like 3 guys in a class of 200.
Yeah, three guys.
Like 3,
I
like
had
2.
one. I had one.
Yeah, okay, that's worse. I mean,
Yeah, like-
it just is statistically worse.
It is much worse. The guy is like great friend. He's still one of my best friends ever. Actually came from Brazil to my wedding here in Canada. Like that goes to show like how much we bonded over the fact that I can talk to him about like Command and Conquer, like one of my favorite real-time strategy games of all time, right?
Yeah.
And he actually knew, like if I talk about like the Mammoth tank and the gunner and the grenadier or whatever, he actually knew what those things meant.
Yeah.
That, like no wonder, like to this day, like I was it was 1997, so I was 12 or 13 depending on the month, and I'm 31 now, and I still talk to the guy like literally daily, right?
Yeah.
Goes to show the bonding power, right? Like when you enjoy this thing, especially when you happen to find the one guy that actually does enjoy it too.
Yeah. I kind of do like that it's becoming more of a thing, though, that everybody's doing. Because I don't want anybody to grow up the way I did, like that. Where, like, your hobby is, like, also your scarlet letter that people, like, will outcast you for. That's a shitty way to go, man.
It is. Like as somebody who collected video games, and I mean, it still does, right? Like Magic. Holy shit, the Magic cards! You are liable to get a fucking ass whooping at school.
Oh man.
Like at the very least, people are scoffing at you. At the very least, right? Like
in high school, we had a giant we would push 2 tables together and play Magic in the cafeteria at lunch every day, and had a huge group
shit, that's
playing in
awesome.
like one giant game of like
Sure.
a free for all.
For sure.
It was fucking amazing. That was like my whole high school.
I still like my Magic the Gathering crowd, right? Like my buddies back home, like, cause like I said, I came to Canada in 2003, right? And those last 3 years, I was really into Magic, and all of those people, even though I'd gone through like stretches of years where we kind of like lost touch, I didn't know what their Facebook was or whatever. I finally got back together like with everybody. Like we have like in Brazil, like there's a instant messaging app that's very popular. It's called WhatsApp.
Yeah.
huge here, right?
Yeah.
And we have a group, like everybody has groups on WhatsApp that they kind of like, it's their like parallel Facebook in a way. Like they treat it like a social media in a way, right? Like a social media network. And everybody, like the people that I played Magic with, we still like talk again daily because we bonded, so strongly over the card game,
Sure.
which is funny because some of my best friends that I met in Magic, I met them because they fucking like scammed me horribly out of good cards. I still like super huge friends with the guy. First interaction with them, and them like poker facing me out of like an amazing card I had. At the time, like this was around when Apocalypse was like the set that was current, and I remember I had 2 Prophetic Bolts, which was like considered a pretty decent card at the time, and I traded this guy for like some garbage card that he had on his binder, and he's like totally like just stoic, like, oh, okay, sure, yeah, let's do that, and like the card is worth like 30. Each one of them is like worth like 30 of the common crap that I got from his, or even a common, and that's my first experience with the guy. Like my first interaction with the guy was him ripping me off, and this is one of my closest friends. What the fuck? No, I want to ask something here. Comet SX, he did mention here, my school went through all the fads. So Pogs, Yo-Yos, Crazy Bones.
Crazy Bones, yeah.
Crazy Bones is one of those that didn't happen in my school.
It did here. They got banned in schools because they promoted gambling.
What
I
were
mean,
Bones?
plenty of other things got banned because of that, but yeah.
Yeah.
What is that, Crazy Bones? I never heard of that.
They are literally just like about maybe an inch big, like little plastic faces or dudes in different shapes that you would just like set up. They were basically like some weird like version of Jax or whatever from if you were born in the 80s.
Yeah, I was gonna say like.
Yeah, there was just like a collectible little figurine thing that you would play different games with and like steal them from your friends if you won and shit like that.
No, we had that. It's just called the different name, like the Brazilians in the chat will probably remember, Gelocos. It was, I remember I don't even know how you got those. I think they were like from Coca-Cola put them out. Yeah, if you look up, I'll show you here a quick link. This is the Brazilian commercial, and you'll recognize the toy. Here as it is on the Skype, and you can just skip ahead. And yeah, that's basically it. And the gimmick is that they're supposed to be like ice cubes that came to life, whatever. Like Geloco, that name, like the first, like the root of that word, gelo means ice in Portuguese. So that was the gimmick there, and I guess that's why Coca-Cola was the one distributing them.
Okay.
Yeah, we had that too. I never heard of Crazy Bones. I didn't know that's what it was. That's cool.
It was a pretty dumb thing, but I mean, most of the shit that we loved growing up were pretty dumb things, so whatever. Pogs were the dumbest.
Pogs were the shit, man.
Oh, man. They made so much money off of kids, though. Like, just this little shitty piece of cardboard with a print on it.
And we're treating it like it's fucking currency.
Oh, that's yeah. Cool. It was currency. If you had that poison slammer, man, you were king.
Oh my god, that's amazing, dude.
Those things all happened at my school, but usually with that kind of fad stuff, I didn't. I would be like, that's lame. Until people were done with it and thought it wasn't cool anymore, and then I would come around and be like, yeah, that was actually okay.
And then you have nobody to play with it.
Yeah.
Because you're like a childhood hipster.
Yeah. He's still that way.
Oh, man. So that's the thing, right? Like, because a lot of this stuff got banned in school. Yeah. Right? Like, a lot of this stuff got banned in school because I guess it was distracting. Yes. It encouraged,
whatever. Kids are having fun. That's not allowed.
Yeah. Yeah. They have to learn.
You're getting too excited.
Yeah.
They're socializing? No, can't have that. Oh man, that's amazing. Yeah, because like I remember a lot of stuff got banned back home because it was too violent or too quote unquote satanic. That was a thing.
Like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh shit, son! Yeah, RPGs in general. Like I remember a lot of games got outright banned. Like you couldn't buy them in Brazil or play them, which was weird. Counter-Strike actually got banned in Brazil. So like all these like cyber cafes that were big in Brazil in like the late 90s to early 2000s, you go same kind of deal, right? Like you pay to play for like whatever, like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So you could be on the computer doing whatever, like talking to people on like MSN or play Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Right, and they banned them. They banned Counter-Strike because they said it was too violent and whatever. And I think it was banned up until kind of recently that people forgot it was in the books because nobody plays these things on at stores anymore. So it doesn't matter if it's fucking banned. You buy it on Steam.
Yeah.
It's no difference. I think if I'm not mistaken, it actually only just got unbanned, which
Nice.
is really fucking weird. It's like when those have those those laws in the books for the carriages cannot go over a certain speed limit if the horse is white or whatever. that still makes it onto the books today. It was one of those situations.
Oh wow. What's the
That's
big
it.
thing in Brazil now? I
Now-
know a lot of them are playing Dota 2. A lot.
Yes. League of Legends is big too.
And League of Legends. Sure. So MOBAs
makes
in
sense.
general.
MOBAs in general. I think
Yeah.
now, it used to be back when I was a kid, 80s and 90s, things took forever to get to Brazil, right? And
Yeah.
not just video games and toys, fashion, music, right? The movies took longer to get there. So we were always on a we had lag basically. You guys are enjoying the cool new things, and for us it took even longer because they had to translate it and do the voiceovers and all those things,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Now with the internet, it's a lot faster, right? So a game comes out on Steam, I can get it, you can get it, the folks in Brazil
Yeah.
can get it too. So now we're pretty much on par now. Now whatever becomes big here tends to also be pretty big there. The MOBAs, like you said, particularly big, especially with the younger crowd, right? Minecraft was very big for a while, but now it's
Sure.
kind of a young kid thing.
That's kind of how Minecraft just went in general, I think, though. It was huge
Yeah.
for a long time, and now it's kind of just what the younger kids play. Because there's no violence and nothing really there. It's just kind of creating your own world.
Like Lego, right? Like a virtual
Yeah.
Lego type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I have my dad remarried, right? So he has a 9-year-old, and shit, dude, the only things that this kid cares about in the world is Minecraft and Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay.
It's
He's a
his-
kid. Got it.
He's
Yeah.
a kid, a 9-year-old.
Sure.
He's a 9-year-old Canadian, basically, right?
Five Nights at
See,
Freddy's.
so no dwarf tossing, and again, I'm gonna hazard a guess that this guy is American or Canadian. He said that Yu-Gi-Oh cards were banned in my school because it was considered satanic.
Because you're summoning creatures? Or
Oh,
something?
dude, Christians, hardcore Christians, they take that shit seriously, dude. My mother
yeah.
believes there are wizards, for real, not even a joke. She thinks, seriously, they think, when Harry Potter was big, right? They thought,
Oh, yeah.
this is,
You're right, actually. I remember that. I went to a Catholic school, so yeah, I remember Harry Potter being a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, so, here's the thing, one thing that was crazy, so I guess I was wrong, no dwarf tossing is actually Brazilian. One thing that was very big in Brazil in the 80s and 90s that I didn't notice being as big here was Japanese cartoons, right? In Japanese live action
Yeah.
shows, right?
Mhm.
In North America, pretty much it was just Power Rangers, I guess.
Yep.
For those
Yeah.
Tokusatsu, I think is the actual Japanese name. I know I've
Tokusatsu.
Yeah.
that's the one, right? And if you remember, and you because you know how to pronounce this, I'm guessing you do remember this. Power Rangers in Japan, they reused all the fighting footage, right?
Yes.
Yep.
They just recast to make it cheaper, right? So that's why the Yellow Ranger was a woman in the American version,
Mhm.
and then but in the Japanese version was a guy, so it was shapeless, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we had a whole bunch of others, right? We had something called, that was my personal favorite, and I don't think you guys got it here. Cyber Cops. Do you remember that?
Cyber Cops, no. We got VR Troopers, which
VR
sounds...
Troopers. That was American.
Yeah, okay.
Superhuman. Superhuman. I'm butchering the name. Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Yeah, that's
one.
another
I
one.
got
love
it.
that.
Also, Beetleborgs was another one.
Beetleborgs.
Oh God,
Beetle,
Beetleborgs.
what the fuck? Beetleborgs?
Yeah.
Let me Google this.
Beetleborgs.
Beetleborgs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big bad Beetleborg. Is that it?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
was that? I'm guessing it's American, but it was very Japanese looking.
Yeah, it's basically...
Yeah.
It's basically Power Rangers, only they harness the power of beetles and bugs or something. I can't even remember.
It was from it was a comic book. They would get powers for these characters from a comic book.
Oh, okay.
Because they went to this house where there was a ghost
Okay.
Mhm.
who was had magic. It was an Elvis impersonator ghost who
Sure.
had magic powers. That show's weird.
We had, I think, the link there to the people in the chat, and I see people saying "Oh, Cybercops, Cybercops was the shit." There's the link on the chat here. If you click it, it was basically all of these shows are imagine if you take Power Rangers and mix it with whatever.
Yeah.
Right? That's basically the
Yeah.
formula. And
Yep.
Cybercops was, what if you took Power Rangers and mixed it with RoboCop, right? So these guys, there's like an elite police like team in Japan. They would walk up to like when shit gets real, right? They walk up to like a random like rock or fucking a squirrel. They move it over, and it's actually a pin pad, and they push the buttons, and then like they get like their shit shipped to them wherever they are. Like all these like crazy like underground series of tubes, like this briefcase would come out, and they would wear the costumes that you see there, which were actually pretty decent for the 80s. This was from the 80s, I believe. And yeah, so they were like cops, right? Japanese cops with like these power like armor and stuff like that. And why am I mentioning this? Because in Brazil, like as you probably know, like it's one of the biggest Christian nations in the world, and they're pretty superstitious, right? So
Sure.
anything that has to do with like Asian culture, because they think like, oh, Asians like they worship like it's a completely total different religion. So like if we watch the shows, we're gonna like, I guess by osmosis, we're gonna like the devil's gonna like, you know, like whatever
Yeah.
they worship must be the devil because they don't worship the same God as us, right? So it's gonna get into your kids' minds and whatever. And as people are mentioning on the chat, one of the characters in Cybercops was literally named, this didn't help me, Lucifer.
Great.
Doesn't help at all. So you're watching that, you're watching the show, and you're just like fucking loving it. And then like one character goes like, "Oh, Lucifer, you're back!" And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like turn it down, like. Doesn't help at all, right? Like, somebody mentioned in Dragon Ball Z, there's one character, I think it's Mr. Hercules or whatever.
Hercules is Mr. Satan.
Mr. Satan,
Yeah.
right? So, like, you have characters like praising the character named Mr. Satan in a Christian, like my dad was a fucking church pastor. So like I'm like just loving this the show, but every fucking time like there's a Mr. Satan episode, I gotta like, okay, let's turn this down a little bit, like get a little bit closer to the TV. Oh, it was one of those. Somebody's like Mama Kazooie. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Oh, we're talking about Asians and Lucifer. I'm sorry I derailed the podcast completely.
That's pretty much on track.
But yes,
Power Rangers was actually the thing that like people were into, but then for some reason everyone decided, no, that's for little kids. That's not cool anymore. So that became my secret shame that I still liked that show. But like it became super uncool for some reason.
For here, it was Sailor Moon, because I liked Sailor Moon, and I'm a dude.
They're hot though. Oh shit! Gotta believe I was watching that shit. Now, one thing here. The pizza came back a little bit. What was I gonna say here? I had a tab open. I forget now. Oh yeah, Saint Seiya was immensely popular in Brazil as well. I'm not sure about here. I don't think so.
What is it?
Saint Seiya.
That
Saint
wasn't
Seiya.
so
No.
Knights of Zodiac is the other name.
I know what it is. I've never watched
Oh
it.
yeah, no.
It wasn't.
Never
That
seen it.
one was particularly Satan-y because it's about like signs and astrology, right? So again, like in a Christian household, like that shit. So all my friends were super into like Saint Seiya, right? Like Knights of the Zodiac. They had the toys and they had all that shit, and I didn't even know the name of the characters because I couldn't watch it at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a pretty sheltered like when if I had come into contact with Magic the Gathering at a younger age, I would have been convinced to believing that was also the work of Satan.
Sure.
No doubt.
I
Like
mean, they're selling you 15 card packs for like $3. Like,
Yeah. It's
whatever.
actually the work of like marketing executives, which is much worse.
right up there, right? Like,
Yep.
oh man, no.
Have you tried any of the online Magic Online or any of that stuff?
I did. I still have like a good $30 in my Magic Online account that I never used because it was just god awful.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. I tried, like back in the day, we had something called Apprentice, which was like an app like on the computer to play Magic online with your friends, right? But there was no like rules or anything baked into the software. You drag the cards and then they have a say, like and then if like your card kills a creature from the opponent goes in like manually gets his card and throws it in the graveyard, right? Which is sort of like how we play in real life, but it has to be like enforced online. And nobody thought it was like a bad an issue because typically you're going to be playing with your friends anyway, so it's not like your friends are going to try to like cheat you, and you can see what they're doing on the screen, right? But yeah, Magic the Gathering Online, the interface is just absolutely terrible. Apprentice was like the what we had at the time. Duel of Planeswalkers, I never got into it too much. But it's pretty decent.
You should talk to Hank about all this stuff because I don't play Magic and he does. He's deep.
I've played a lot of Magic the Gathering Online since it like first came out. They've they've redone the interface a couple times. It's much better than it used to be. Because it used to be you had to like physically, you had like an avatar character. You would physically sit at a table.
Oh my god!
Someone else. They got rid of that. That was ridiculous.
So unnecessary.
It's an actual like just menu you can look at. But I mean, for me, that was like one of the ways where I like specifically could like learn the actual rules, because I played Magic for fucking years, like completely wrong. Like me and my friends had no idea how to play.
That's part of the Magic experience, dude.
We used to play where we would order our decks before we played. Like we would meticulously pick every card order. And we would draw 7 cards every turn, and you could play as many lands as you wanted every turn.
So, like,
we would like spend hours building our decks, and games would be over in like 2 minutes.
Dude, like it's. I think playing Magic wrong, because like Paul, since you're not familiar with Magic, like Magic is it's very complex. Like the rules, like nowadays when you must have played like Hearthstone, right? I'm guessing.
Oh yeah.
So nowadays, the card games, they're more like, let's make it like simple to learn, right? But it's complex enough that you can take it to the next level if you're into it, right?
Sure.
But Magic, pretty much from the ground up, allows for too many, like little rules and this and that. It's a fairly difficult game to get somebody into, like much more than like Hearthstone, right?
Yeah.
So and not only that, but with every expansion, they add new rules and new mechanics, and it's very easy to, like, if you stop playing Magic for a few months, you're completely lost in the game. Like that's how much it changes in like a few years. Like a lot of things, like they'll change like rules that were like so baked into like the essence of the game, right? So it's very natural for the novice to like pick up like the starter pack of Magic or whatever, misread a rule, and just keep playing it wrong for forever. So Hank, I used to think that you had to tap to block. Or like there's these little like things, because I guess I read only up until like if you attack you tap, right? So I guess I skipped the rest, and I think logically you have to tap to block, right? So and there's all these little like weird things that you do wrong, and then if you're teaching to someone, like you're teaching it wrong as well. So it takes a while. Like when you become like, when you go like, oh, that's when like you really like upgrade from like kitchen table Magic to like, okay, now I understand what's going on.
And I would usually learn things by like seeing a card that the rules of it clearly contradicted the way I understood the game. It's like, oh, I guess it doesn't work this way or whatever.
I had a lot of cards like that, like cards that like that have, like, I remember like the tap to like use an ability, like I didn't know when you could do that, like if like can my opponent like do this, like is this just for me, like it was very confusing. And it was like if you're just playing with, like in my case with my brother at home, it was just like, fuck it, this is how it is. Oh, not only that, you're gonna love this, wait a second, I still have the card here, wait a second. So when I started playing, right, like I didn't know like the community, I didn't know like I found some old tickets here, speeding tickets, that's great.
Memories.
I moved, so Paul, Sunnyside, right? Like close to downtown.
Yep.
There's a Memorial Drive, right? Like there's a whole lot of speed cameras there, and the speed goes like 50 to 70, and then 50 again, then 70 again, and I mean kilometers. Where don't drive like crazy in residential areas. Hank. And and when I first moved here, it took me a while. It took me 4 speeding tickets to realize, oh shit, I should probably follow the posted speed limit.
They do that on purpose to get you.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Like, not only that, but like here's the picture that they got of my car, and somehow they can read that.
It's pitch black. Great.
Is this your car? Oh, I guess fuck it is. I guess. Shit, you're telling me. But
wait, I didn't think I drove the darkness.
Yeah, fuck. It's like this pitch black. Yeah, no, that's that. Yeah, no, that's the one I bought. I already paid for this, thankfully. This is from back in March. Goes to show how organized I am. Okay, so I have here a Tangarth, Hero of Tarum. It's an old, like, a legend card, right? And I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's all fucked up. Like, there's, like, some residue and shit.
Yeah.
It's ripped the back here. So here's what happened. This is a legendary card. It's like a pretty decent card. I thought, like, okay, we got to protect the cards, right? Because, like, these things are, like, they're expensive. I know they're worth something. I didn't, like, frequent the trade routes, like the silver, like the Silk Road of Magic where people go and, like, trade this shit.
Yeah.
But I already knew that they were worth something, right? So I'm like, we got to protect this thing. So what I did was I took, like, I think it's called contact paper. It's like this adhesive, like, see-through thing they use to, like, cover shit that you want to protect from, like, damage.
Yeah, like the laminate thing.
Yeah,
the, self-laminate thing.
Exactly, that sticks, right? So
Yeah.
I laminated all my cards, including my, like, expensive legend cards that I didn't know how much they were worth this time.
Yeah.
So when I took it to play with my friends for the first time, I was like, what the fuck did you do to your cards? And I'm like, yeah, man, right? It's great. I've protected them. Like, they can last forever now. They're gonna really retain their value. Like, no, dude. Like, you buy, like, little sleeves. You fucking put them in. You take them out. Like, what the fuck did you do? I'm like, oh shit. And not only that, but it wasn't even like a nice little job. Like at the front it was okay, but there was bubbles and wrinkles. And then at the back, that, like, I folded over and it was like a fucking mess.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta take them all out. So as I took them out, like, I ruined like half my deck.
Oh shit.
So yeah, like, you go through, like, Magic is like a complex type of thing. So when you get into it, you're gonna fuck up, or you're gonna ruin your cards. And I mean, I have a reputation for fucking my shit over, right? So just, like, completely ruining it. So I guess it goes with the theme. But yeah, you should get into Magic, Paul. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm getting into Duelist lately.
Duelist is the shit, man.
Duelist, what's that?
It's
Hank,
like
do you wanna explain
Hearthstone
it?
plus a tactical turn-based combat thing.
Oh, that sounds
It's
cool.
it's like an added level of complexity upon, like, a card game that's basically Hearthstone.
Right
Yeah.
on. That sounds
So, like, your life total is
Duelist,
attached
eh?
to, like, a minion guy who you move around the battlefield too,
okay.
and then there are cards to, like, make him stronger, and then there are, like, creature spells. And like Hearthstone, it's built around those, like, archetype stuff.
Okay. So Duelist, eh?
With a Y.
Yeah, with a Y.
Oh, with a Y. Okay, that's why it's coming up with the
Duelist.
definition of fucking dualism on dictionary.
Yeah,
Doc.
no, they were smart.
Duelist.
They put the Y in, so it's a made-up
Ah.
word, so it's much better, easy to search for.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, duelist. Okay, that's cool. So with a turn-based strategy element to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
It's a
the
lot of fun.
pixelated. I like the pixelated look. Yeah, that's my shit right there.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Also,
Guys,
if you for on the Magic Gathering side, Magic, their Duel of the Planeswalkers games. They used to do a format where they would just put out a new game every year that were independent. They've
Right.
now sort of moved closer to the Hearthstone model with
Okay.
Magic Gathering Origins. So that's like a way to play free to play Magic the Gathering. Although the amount of coins you get to get new packs is a little too slow for me, but that's a way that exists for people to play Magic for free, and
That's
it's
cool.
like for new players, that's the way I would recommend.
yeah, I mean, if it surprises me that it's taken that long to actually go to the
Yes, it took them way longer than it should have for them to
Right.
make that, considering they had those Duels of the Planeswalkers games out there.
right. Like, it'd be very easy to, like, just jerry rig a freemium mode to that, I would think.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Guys, sorry to interrupt, but it's 10:30. I work at 5:30 tomorrow, so I gotta be
Absolutely.
taking leave here.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it's
should
fun.
definitely do it again sometime.
Sure, yeah, man. Whenever I'm available, I'd be glad to join you guys.
Cool. All right, well, take it easy.
Right on, man.
it.
Say you guys in the chat there. Sorry I couldn't reply and talk to everybody there. I tried. I did my best. All right, guys. You guys have a good one.
You too. We'll see you later.
See
Yep.
ya, man.
All right. And now I got to fix your video again, but again, breaking everything. God damn it.
Just like he just steps away from a table and takes the tablecloth with him.
Yeah. All right. So what movie did you go see again?
Phoenix.
Phoenix, right.
Phoenix. I went to see for a second time because I have a friend. My friend who I go to the movies with had not seen it yet, and we were like, we could go watch Goosebumps or Bridge of Spies, which neither of us are really feeling, or I could see Phoenix again, and he hadn't seen Phoenix, and I really liked it, so
Okay.
that was cool.
So it holds up. It's still okay.
It's still quite good. Like it's a movie that's good until you get to the last scene, and you're like, fuck. Like the last scene totally makes that movie.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all sort
I
of
thought you
building
were meaning like a bad fuck.
No. It's the like a it's the best. It's like a perfect ending. Like the way that movie is built up, that's where you need to end that movie. It's done really well. The acting is fucking phenomenal. And just it's so good. It's such a good ending.
Cool.
Yeah. It's great to see something that just ends correctly because so many things do not quite end right.
Boy, tell me about it. I was gonna make a bad comment about my personal life. How's Yokai Watch going?
It's going okay. I don't know. The thing it like when I definitely appreciate that game doesn't have random battles.
Okay.
Like it's really nice. But whenever I'm going to fight yokai, like the regular battles are over like immediately. Like my yokai, I use my ultimate attack on one of them that attacks everything and it's done. There's like nothing. But then I get to like a boss battle and it's like I'm not the system of using the pin to like tell your things where to attack and like not controlling everything.
I hated that actually.
Once the game becomes more complicated, the fact that I'm not controlling everything, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
That's actually a thing with original release of Persona 3. You only control your main character. All the other characters are like controlled by the AI, which I find infuriating.
Sure.
I think in the I'm pretty sure the version I have of it, which is FES, and I think this is true for the PSP version of Persona 3 2, they changed it to the Persona 4 system, where you can have them set up to be AI, or you can set them to manual and control everyone, which is what I prefer, because if I'm playing a fucking RPG, if shit is going to go bad, I want it to be my fault. I don't want to be whining at the AI. That's the worst.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Yokai Watch, the story is so charming and there's so many things about it that I'll keep playing it, but I don't love that combat system at all. But it's like the presentation stuff around it and the story is really funny. I'm on a quest to get this old guy who I guess used to be a yokai but decided to turn into a human, and I have to go find his underwear that he left at like sauna.
Makes perfect sense.
And it's being worn by a giant pig yokai.
Yep. Makes perfect sense. Japan.
Yup. I like that the kid's response was like, really? You want me to go out at night to get your underwear? That's kind of weird.
That's his response to that?
Yeah.
I mean, he still does it, I'm sure, right? Because it's a video
the
game.
key is he can't go out at night because his parents will yell at him. But he has this yokai that you capture earlier will suck out all the sleep from you and then transforms to look like you and sleeps in your bed for you so you can go out at night.
What the fuck, dude? Whatever. Okay. Normal Tuesday in Japan, exactly.
I mean, this game is all about being normal Japan. It's about looking for monsters in like you go into alleyways and search through the trash, and then there's a ghost there. I will battle it. That's the kind of stuff that makes me like the game, but playing it,
Not so much. Like the actual gameplay.
the actual gameplay is not so hot.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm standing with Undertale in general.
Mhm.
So I don't
It
really
actually,
love how
like,
that game plays, but
It actually reminds me of Undertale in a bunch of ways, although this is much more for kids than
Oh.
Undertale is. Undertale is for internet people.
yeah. Yeah, that's probably fair to say.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, besides Fallout 4, I really haven't done anything.
So the one game that's new that I started playing is this game Mini Metro,
Yeah.
which just came out on Steam, which is like a subway sim management thing that's sort of puzzly. It's very minimalistic. Where it'll start out where there are 3 subway stop nodes, and everything's represented by either a circle. It's all simple shapes. So there's a circle, there will be a triangle or a square.
Okay.
So, and to build your subway path, you just draw a line from one stop to another, and it'll put in a line. The subway car is like a rectangle with 6 spots on it. It'll start moving back and forth. You'll see little like the number of people in a station build up in like as a circle or triangle or square, a square, triangle, and I think triangle means like more people, and you have like a counter of how many people, and time is passing to the week. So as time passes, more and more stations will sort of pop up on the map, and you'll
Okay.
have to draw your paths. And you start with like 3 lines, and you'll have like bridges or tunnels for like getting across the water. The maps are modeled off of like actual city maps. So it's like London, Paris, New York, I think are the starting 3. It's just like relaxing, even though like you're just building. Things will get nuts eventually, and everything will fall apart because your lines are taking too many people, or trying to get. You can't. Eventually, you can't service everyone, and if people get too angry at an overcrowded stop, you'll get game over. And as every week, you'll get one new train car that you can put either on a track you've already built, or if you have the access to build a new line, it'll go on a new line. And then you'll get like a choice where you can get like an extra carriage for one of your trains, so it'll be like a two train stuck together, or you can get like another line you can open up, or extra tunnels or bridges.
Okay.
So there's different things you're juggling. It's just a simple, fun sort of sim game that's sort of giving me like the managing people from place to place thing that I was sort of doing in City Skylines, but that City Skylines wasn't like tight enough mechanically on a lot of the time, and it just like that I didn't get a game over in City Skylines when my bus stops were fucking nightmares of human suffering.
Yeah. Yeah, that game is all about routes for sure.
Yeah.
And how bad things can go.
Just saying like, oh god, I've become the thing I hate in terms of city, like
Public
hating
transit.
traffic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just fun to have like a well-built thing that's just about, and I like the minimalist aesthetic of it. And it has like a daily challenge system built in and leaderboards and stuff.
That's cool.
So that's all cool.
Every game should have a daily challenge, honestly. A reason to load it up every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the only new thing I'm playing. I've been messing around with, I've been playing a bunch of Duelist.
Yeah.
I finally went down the Lionar deck route and then ranked up a bunch.
Lionar is strong, man. They're very strong.
Oh, it's so, like, just the satisfaction of the board control is so good.
Yeah.
But then I started playing other decks I've just been completing daily stuff.
Okay.
So I've been building decks on the other. I've gotten like enough cards now where I'm like, I feel like I'm making some choices when I'm building my decks instead of just plopping down all the cards I have that I have available.
Yeah.
Basically.
How do you like the deck building in that, as somebody who likes that part of Magic obviously the most?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it has the same thing as Hearthstone, where because of the pre-built in sort of factions, a lot of your choices are made for you up front. Like, I'm gonna put in a lot of most of the cards from this faction into this deck if I'm building a deck for this faction.
Of course.
Like, that's made for me. So you can't do like the weird trying to like find weird angles on min-maxing you can in Magic.
Yeah.
You have like access to like a fucking ridiculous number of cards, but it's about, the deck building's about on par with Hearthstone. I just never, but it's really the thing of like, I like the game more, so I'm putting in more time to get access to more cards than I really did in Hearthstone.
Right.
So I can have a little bit more fun with the deck building just because I enjoy the game more, so I'm playing it more. So I'm on more stuff.
Are you going to put money into it?
Probably not.
Okay.
Just because I don't like putting money into capsule type economy things. If I don't know what I'm getting, I don't like putting money in.
Yeah. Which is why you don't mind putting money in like heroes, because you know exactly what you're getting.
And the time when I put money into Magic the Gathering Online, I'm always using those cards to play in like draft building things where I have a chance to win extra cards.
Yeah.
There's like a thing there, and then like, or I'm using tickets to buy specific cards on the side market that has. Like, I much prefer either having a reason, like knowing what I'm getting, or there's like a actual thing I can do with it that would give me a chance to get extra cards.
Sure.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yep. That game is fun.
Yeah.
And I've had ridiculous things happen. Like I had a game where there was a unit on every space on the board.
Oh man. Okay.
Because one of my like super rares I've gotten is it's like this Black Lotus card. It's a 2/2 flyer for 4.
The Black Locust.
Black Locust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whenever it moves, it creates a copy of itself.
Yeah.
So whenever that copy moves, it makes a copy of itself. I filled up the entire board.
I've found though that it's so easy to get that removed that it's not worth playing in my deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just gets killed. Like all the time.
For sure. It's like you have to. That's why it's not broken. Is there a lot of ways for people to deal with it?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. If it goes unchecked,
yeah,
it's really good. That's why
it punishes really hard if it goes unchecked.
It's been good in my Lionar deck because my Lionar deck is like controlling the board, so I can find like the room for it to exist.
So you got some good ranged and stuff in there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ranged is super OP in that game. It's so good.
Oh yeah, I just got the card that makes all generals and ranged units have to target it. It's like a 1/7.
Oh, okay. So a taunt, like a board-wide taunt?
A taunt, but only for ranged, but also for the enemy general.
Oh, not for just standard melee.
No, it doesn't have a normal taunt. It's just like a ranged and generals taunt, basically. It's like a specifically written out thing.
Cool.
So I added that to my Lionar deck, too.
I highly suggest everybody pick it up if you're into like card games or tactic games. It's so good. And it's free.
Yep.
You can't get past that price.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess your time isn't free. Time is money.
Time is money, friend.
Exactly.
Messed with Mario Maker. I think they put out some more event levels.
Yeah. Did they put out the thing, the browser being able to...
That's not till December.
That's December? Okay.
That's December when that comes out. It's annoying that isn't going to be in the game, but they needed to do that. They needed to have that, like, tagging and searching stuff is going to be really good once that's out. It should be in the game, though. It's dumb that it's not in the game.
Yeah.
That's a browser thing. But really, it's just Nintendo saying, oh, there are people making searchable databases for this game. We should probably do that.
I mean, they're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I will probably play it next.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's not true. I've been wanting to play around in it again, but just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I watched a bunch of dumb shit on the internet. Like, I checked out an episode of the animated Free Willy show.
Oh, fuck. Here we go.
Where the villain is a cyborg oil baron.
Okay, I don't remember this show then at all. I thought I did, but nope, I don't remember that.
Really can talk. There's a seal who's named Lucille.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The episode I watched, the bad guy had a plot of infesting all the local waters with sharks so that it would chase people away so that he could get his offshore drilling plans through.
Okay. That's pretty villainous.
He has like two these green sludge creature henchmen things. It's dumb. It's a dumb thing.
You couldn't convince me otherwise. It doesn't sound like a dumb thing.
And then I rewatched the Nostalgia Critics episodes on the 2 animated Titanic movies.
Okay, how did that go?
I mean, those movies are incredible. Particularly the one that's all about, no, this is the true story about the Titanic and how nobody died on it.
Okay.
Also, both those movies have songs and have cartoon mice. It's like that is true for both.
Are you saying Titanic was an inside job?
Also, there were, I mean, In that second one, it was because it was a plot for someone who had talked to sharks to trick an octopus to throw the iceberg at the Titanic.
The fuck, man?
Was an inside job in that.
What
Also,
the fuck?
that movie, its end goal was to be a save the whales message. It was all about the whales. The whales saved everybody! So we should save the whales. Nobody died on the Titanic. Everybody lived. Even the character you see specifically die because they have to get the telegram working again, they hook up the electrical cords that they had cut earlier to prevent the bad guy from sending a message to this mouse's mustache. They run electricity through his mustache, and it works, but then he dies. But then at the end of the movie, he's alive!
What the
Because you
fuck
can't have
are you
anyone
talking
die.
about?
This movie is fucked, man. The movie is fucked. That movie is remarkably worse than the Titanic animated musical that has a rapping dog in it.
You're saying words that don't make sense together in my head right now.
Animated Titanic musical. Fucking amazing. Terrible.
I don't understand any of this. Rapping dog?
Yeah. If it were not for you, I would now be in someone else's digestion. And then the dog goes, well, there's something you should know. I'm going to tell you so. So don't sweat it. Forget it. Enjoy the show. Working all day. Now it's time to unwind, kick back, relax. I don't remember the rest of the words.
Oh, man. I was starting to groove.
It's fucking amazing. That one was a big internet thing. The tentacles one is like too fucked up even to have become a big meme thing.
That's pretty
Also,
bad.
that like tears from the girl, like magic moonbeams, and then she can talk to dolphins who like are floating in the air. But the bad guys can talk to sharks who have like a prison hat. Shark has a prison hat.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it
Doesn't.
does.
Also,
that's the one part that makes sense.
in that animated cartoon, like a lot of it is mice talking about ship protocol.
Okay.
Like going out, like very specifics of like who needs to be where when. It's like since I haven't seen the full movie, I don't. Nostalgia Critic makes it pretty clear that a lot of the movie is that.
Okay. I don't know what to say to any of this.
So after I watched that, it's like, yeah, the Free Willy cartoon. This is fine.
I guess, you know what?
This is acceptable.
Yeah. Free Willy cartoon seems like it's the most amazing thing ever now.
At least it didn't claim that everyone lived on the Titanic.
Yeah.
That was all just a misunderstanding.
Yeah. That's the moral of the story. I think that's a show.
I think that's a show.
I think that's a show. Shout out and thanks to our guest who had to take off early because he works at stupid early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to have him back again soon. So
Yeah, that was fun.
yeah, definitely have to do that again. And thank you to you listening and watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.